Good morning. It's Friday, January the 26th. Our devotion today is entitled Work on Growing Closer. And the scripture reference that the author gives us is Proverbs chapter 5, verse 18. It says, "May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth." Now we're going to talk a lot in this devotional about husbands and wives and the relationship and how to keep that growing closer. But really, some of these things can easily apply to our relationship with our children, even our grandchildren, or friends or relatives. Because any relationship we have, we always want to work on that relationship being pure and that relationship grows closer. But let's talk about our husbands and wives. Marriage is a relationship where one is always right and the other is the husband. Joking aside, that's a very incorrect statement, but it's fun because, guys, we know that sometimes it's, we didn't get it right. But one thing we did get right was the person we chose to marry. Marriage is not a 50-50 relationship. It's a 100-100 relationship. Everything we do needs to be all in, 100% of the time, 100% of the emotion, 100% of the relationship. Everything is 100%, all in, all of the time. And I know you've probably heard this before, but there are two things that every relationship needs to learn to say. Every person in a relationship needs to learn to say. One is, "I'm sorry." And the other is, "I was wrong." To be able to say "I'm sorry" allows us to truly, relationships and couples that truly love each other, they'll throw pride away and they'll work to resolve their differences regardless of who is right and who is wrong. And then in 1 Corinthians 13, I'm just going to reference this, it says that love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, does not boast, and is not proud. And that's the kind of love it takes to be able to say "I'm sorry." And then "I was wrong" is not really about admitting guilt, because we all make mistakes. But if we can admit this to our one and only, or to that person that we have, that our child, or if we can admit that, it can only strengthen the trust and bond between us. Again, in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, it mentions that love does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrongs. So I'm going to give you 5 things that would possibly help that relationship grow closer. First thing is, don't neglect each other. Don't get caught up with fixing everyone else that you neglect your own relationship or your own marriage. We need to understand that relationships take work. And before we try to fix everybody else, we need to be sure that we've got ourselves right where we need to be in our relationship. The second thing is, don't take each other for granted. If we do, we apologize and make changes keep from doing that again. The third thing, appreciate and acknowledge each other. We can appreciate the small things about each other in our relationship, and then tell each other how much we appreciate those qualities or actions of each other. So appreciate and acknowledge. Verbalize that. Fourth thing, never assume. We don't assume that we know what each other is thinking. We should never do that. What we need to do is ask questions to clarify and gain understanding. We accept and understand that we are not mind readers. I don't know what Lisa's thinking. She doesn't know what I'm thinking. So it's just good to have discussions and clarify things. Lastly, remember why you fell in love with your spouse. Remember why you did that. Remember why you said "I do" and why we chose to commit to each other. An elderly couple that I knew for over 30 years. They were very real. They were very real people. They were never able to have children, and they never adopted. They did everything together. They had a home together. They made a home. They went to church together. They taught Sunday school together. They did everything together. As life became closer to the end of their journey here on the earth, the wife became extremely ill with dementia and had to be institutionalized. Well, the husband of over 60 plus years did not miss a day. He went every day to see her. And then she got so ill that there were some infections, and so she had to be quarantined, and he could not be in the room with her. So he would go every day after breakfast, and he would stand outside the room, and he would look in the window at her in her environment. He did that until dinner time, and then he went home every single day. And there came a point where the dear lady stepped into the presence of Jesus and was no longer on this earth. And as they were preparing all of this and at the end of her life, and they were preparing all this in the hospital room, he was still sitting there, and one of the young nurses came over to him, and she said, "Sir, when I get married, I want to marry a man just like you." Because she saw his faithfulness. She saw his unwavering love and his unbroken bond and his unending commitment to his wife. It was more than just a marriage. They were one. Someone said one time, "To love a person is to learn the song in their heart and to sing it to them when they can't sing it for themselves." That's what he was doing for her. The first line in our devotion says this: "The more history you have with your spouse, the more joy and pain you have experienced." So to really experience the joy and the pain, that relationship has got to be close. If she hurts, I hurt. If she experienced joy, I experience joy. That's what having a close relationship is all about. In the end, these three things exist according to Paul in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians: faith, hope, and love. The greatest is love. Have a great day.